Hey everybody, Jerome Maldonado. I wanted to talk to you guys today about how over the last 20 plus years, we've learned how to reduce construction costs and manage our expenses with labor. And so if you see behind me here, there's some workers doing some concrete work and a subdivision that's going on. And one of the biggest things that has made our business so successful has been the construction end of our company. Now, because we focus in real estate and real estate development, and we have so for so many years, I never realized how beneficial the two have complemented each other until just recent years. Since I've been working in different submarkets and different areas across the United States, one of the things that I found is that a lot of people have the ability to purchase real estate, and they even have the ability to renovate it. But so many of them are missing the ball when it comes to renovating and developing correctly. And what I mean by correctly is, and it's not that they're doing it wrong, the way they're doing it works, but wrong in the fashion where they can be maximizing their profits instead of minimizing their profits on the renovation portion. So in any project, what lands up making me a larger margin of return is the way we reduce construction time and we save on labor. And so all it takes is management skills. And one of the big things is a business plan. And where most people miss the mark is that they don't really have a business plan, because they think that a business plan for a lot of professionals is just that, just a business plan with just, okay, this is what I'm doing, period. But a real business plan not only has the project and the scope of work, but how you're going to manage and facilitate that project and the scope of work. And so in every one of our business plans, we reverse engineer labor and construction time from start to finish. And so we put goals and parameters, but not just goals. We put parameters behind those goals, and typically we meet those goals, and a lot of times we supersede those goals. And if we don't meet those goals, it's by a very small margin, and there's typically something involved in that project that was either outside of our control or a major change order. And otherwise, we typically hit the mark, or we're typically well in front of the mark as far as our completion time, because we're conservative when we schedule this stuff, and we know that if we manage the projects correctly, our profitability goes up. The amount of payments that goes out to the mortgage companies, lenders, investors, lands up being reduced, and hence that means more money in our pockets and in the bank. And so that's what I want to talk to you guys today about. So many times, real estate development is not a hard business in relation to how you have to manage it day in and day out. And so what lands up happening is, because of that, what I found is that people take a back seat. You know, so many times people look at videos and they're watching this stuff and they sit back and go, I want to do that. But they want to get to the retirement sector. They want to get to the lifestyle sector. They want to get to the end point before they actually start and have to go through the grind, right? And there's a grind in everything. I don't care what any entrepreneur says. I don't care what any business person says. I don't care what anybody says, with the exception of a small, minute, like one or two people that get there on accident. The mass majority of everybody else has to put in the time, the work ethic, and the due diligence to be able to enjoy the better and the finer things in life. Time and time again, I'll hire staff, I'll hire employees, and they come in, they see everything that we have going on, not knowing and taking into consideration that it's taken us 25 plus years to build and develop the infrastructure, and to be able to get to a financial standpoint and knowledge base that we're able to do what we do. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to take 25 years to do what we've done. The information that we're giving you should shave that more so than in half. You could be able to take all our mistakes, everything that we do, and shave it down to 5 to 8 years. And maybe you won't get to the net worth of developments that we're doing at that point in time, but at the very least, you have the knowledge, the information, and you can start working in that direction. And so you can start putting together a portfolio or the ability to do something like this on a smaller scale, a bigger scale, or whatever your motivation is. And so understanding that a business plan is super important. You cannot get to your end results without a solid business plan. And so one of the big things is sitting down and being realistic, understanding what time frames things take. But not only being realistic with that, but managing your subcontractors, your general contractors, and everybody down the line, architects, engineers, to be able to make sure that they're on board and that they understand there's timelines. And we even will give bonuses away to people that get done early, but we also incur penalties and charges to people who get done late. Now, a lot of times we don't even implement them. We push and drive on those and we use them as a pressing factor. But a lot of times we don't exercise them unless somebody does something substantially out of line or just leaves our project dormant for an extended amount of time, which typically doesn't happen because we usually have backup contractors. And if they do it leave it dormant for an extended amount of time, we have clauses, non-performance clauses in our contracts that allows us to be able to go off and seek another contractor without punitive or financial damage and then move forward in another direction. That's only happened like 2 or 3 times over the last 25 years that we've had to exercise that and even do that. So 99.9% of the time, that's very marginal and very few and far from cases. And so understanding that if you come in and you have a business plan, but in that business plan, you have time frames and parameters. How do you manage those parameters and those time frames? Well, what you do is you get with your contractors, you have pre-development meetings, and you have pre-construction meetings, and you get everybody in line, you talk to them about your goals, but you yourself have to have a clear vision and a clear goal in mind before you can convey that to anybody else. Because if you go in there saying, well, we're hoping to do this and we're hoping to do that, but yet you don't have any solid, tangible expectations, the subcontractors, your architects, your engineers, they won't either. And so your third-party contractors and your team is only as good as you are. So if you sit back, you lag, understand that the same effects are going to happen full circle. And so it's really important that the people that are wanting to buy a lot and build out a single-family home, people that want to buy a fix and flip, or people that want to go out and do value add to projects, understand that your involvement is important and it is needed. I know that if I'm not boots on the ground, or at least have somebody that is boots on the ground, I know that my projects are going to take substantially longer, and I know that the finished quality is going to be subpar in comparison to if I'm involved in the project. And so having a clear business plan is one of the most integral parts of how we reduce labor and we stay on track with everything that we do. And so what we'll do is we don't just have that pre-development meeting and then disappear, right? We do weekly meetings, we do daily briefings, and we do monthly follow-through meetings where we say, okay, here's where we're at. We're behind on this. We're ahead on this. Good job for that, or not so good job for being behind. How do we get this back in line? And we just fine-tune things. And if things are running smooth, great. We don't take our foot off the pedal, go down and eat lunch, have breakfast every morning, and think that things are going to continue running smooth. We stay in the game. We stay in the game. It's so important. You have to stay in the game. Look, ladies and gentlemen, there's work involved in this. I don't want to mislead anybody and say, look, I got wealthy and I'm sitting on a mega yacht someplace enjoying the fruits of my labor. That stuff we enjoy, and we enjoy it without any worry about financial recourse, because we've been able to go out and we've been able to produce a development company and a construction company that's produced for us. And I'll tell you that it's super important that people understand that there's work behind all of this. And so if you don't want to put in the work, you don't want to put in the time, this is not the industry that you want to get involved in. Now, the fruits of your labor are plentiful, and I'll tell you that if you're able to go in, monetize the business, and be able to systemize it the way we do it, you'll succeed financially beyond what you can do almost anywhere else. And real estate has created more millionaires than any other industry in the history of the world, and it continues to produce. And not only does it continue to produce, but it continues to produce in a strong and plentiful way. And so I'm excited to be able to share that stuff with you guys, and would love to see nothing more than more people taking advantage of what happens out in these areas in real estate development. You know, it's exciting to be a part of something so great. I had no idea that this would develop into something like this if you would have asked me early years. But what's made it work is the management of our construction company, implementing all of that into our real estate business. And so if you just sit down and you write out a clear business plan that incorporates the whole project goal, the end goal, and a timeline, that incorporates your start to finish, and then I reverse engineer. We go and say, okay, this is where the dirt work gets done. This is where the curb and gutters get done. This is when the block walls go in. This is when foundations get poured. This is when framework starts. This is where plumbing starts. This is where electrical starts, heating and cooling starts. This is where drywall comes in. This is where we come in and we start trimming things out. The roofers come in and we start putting in tile, trim out items, cabinets, and all the finished trim out items. And I have little subsectors of time frames built into the big time frame. You can't just go in and do one big time frame. You have to do subsections of small time frames. And when you learn to micromanage your systems and the time frames that it takes, you're able to cut back on labor, you're able to save yourself money, cut back on interest payments, and maximize your profits. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you truly go out and compound your success. If you like information and content just like this, it gives you value to be able to help you in anything that you're doing within real estate development, or construction and construction processes, do me a huge favor. Give me a big fat thumbs up. Pound that bell down below and subscribe to our YouTube channel for content just like this, and there's a lot more to come.